Imagine being stranded in the most unforgiving environment on Earth. No food, no warm clothes, and surrounded by endless freezing peaks that offer nothing but a slow, agonizing death. What would you do to survive? How far would you push the boundaries of your own humanity? This isn't just a Hollywood script. This is the harrowing, heartbreaking, and completely true story of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. A story of unimaginable loss, impossible choices, and a brutal 72-day fight for survival that shocked the entire world. A tragedy that inspired blockbuster films like Alive and the Oscar-nominated Society of the Snow. Prepare yourself, because this story will break your heart and then put it back together. It was October 13th, 1972. A chartered Fairchild FH-227D aircraft took off from Montevideo, Uruguay. On board were 45 people, mostly young men from the Old Christians Club amateur rugby team, along with their friends and family members. They were heading to Santiago, Chile for a match. The atmosphere inside the cabin was electric. They were young, full of life, and entirely unaware that they were flying directly into a death trap. Deep over the treacherous Andes Mountains, heavy clouds obscured the view. Due to a fatal miscalculation by the co-pilot, he believed they had already cleared the mountains. He began the descent. Suddenly, the clouds broke, and right in front of the windshield was a massive, jagged cliff of solid rock. The pilots tried to pull up, but it was too late. The impact tore the plane in half. 12 people died instantly in the crash. Several more succumbed to their injuries or the freezing temperatures in the first few nights. The survivors found themselves trapped at an altitude of 11,800 feet, surrounded by glaciers. They wore summer clothes. At night, temperatures plummeted to minus 30 degrees Celsius. They huddled together inside the torn fuselage, hoping, praying for the rescue helicopters to arrive. For 10 excruciating days, they scanned the skies. They found the small transistor radio in the wreckage to listen to the news. But on day 11, they heard a broadcast that shattered their souls. The announcer stated that the search and rescue mission had been officially canceled. The authorities believed no one could have survived the crash. They were considered completely, utterly dead to the world. They were entirely on their own. Starvation began to destroy their bodies from the inside out. They tried eating leather from the suitcases, shoelaces, and seat cushions. Nothing worked. Around them, there was no plant, no animal, no insect, just ice and the frozen bodies of their dead friends and family members. In order to survive, they had to cross the ultimate psychological and moral boundary. A devastating debate broke out among the young men. Some, holding on to their deep Catholic faith, refused. But eventually, a horrifying consensus was reached. They made a pact. If I die, you have my permission to use my body to survive. It was an act of profound love and desperate survival. They resorted to anthropophagy, cannibalism. As if starvation and freezing weren't enough, on the 17th day, the mountains struck again. While they were sleeping inside the fuselage, a massive avalanche buried the plane completely. 8 more people were suffocated to death in the terrifying darkness. They were buried alive under the snow for 3 grueling days. By the time they dug their way out, they realized a heartbreaking truth. Nobody was coming for them. If they wanted to live, they had to walk out of hell themselves. 2 young men, Nando Parrado and Roberto Canesa, made a suicidal decision. Without climbing gear, without proper maps, and completely exhausted, they began to trek across the jagged peaks of the Andes Mountains. Their journey was deemed biologically impossible. For 10 grueling days, they climbed over a 15,000-foot peak, facing fierce blizzards and extreme exhaustion, until finally the snow began to fade into dirt, and then they saw a man on a horse across a river. On December 22, 1972, after 72 days in the frozen abyss, helicopters finally arrived at the wreckage. Out of the original 45 passengers, only 16 made it back alive. When the world learned how they survived, they faced initial shock and judgment. But ultimately, their story wasn't remembered for the horror of cannibalism. It was remembered for the invincible strength of the human spirit, the profound brotherhood that kept them alive. They didn't just survive the mountain, they carried the souls of their fallen friends with them, proving that even in the absolute darkest depths of despair, hope can still light the way. If you want to experience the sheer terror and beauty of the story, the movie Society of the Snow is an absolute masterpiece you must watch. What would you have done if you were in their shoes? Do you think you would have the psychological strength to make the same choices they did to survive? Let us know your deep thoughts in the comments below. If this incredible true story touched your heart, please leave a like and share it with someone who needs a reminder of human resilience. For more emotional, historical, and deeply captivating stories, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and remember, never give up hope.